If you ask people what their favorite anime series is, it wouldn't take long before someone mentions Hunter x Hunter. With an IMDb score of 9 out of 10, it is one of the most popular series in the world, venturing into a realm of world building and character depth that ranks it among the elites. With the recent news of the writer opening up a Twitter account that has accrued 2.8 million followers in less than 2 months, using it to upload new story panels, the anime may be set for a return after its on-screen ending in 2014. So I wanted to use this opportunity to delve into what makes Hunter x Hunter special.
Strange beasts and monsters, vast riches, hidden treasures, evil haunts, uncharted frontiers, the mysterious unknown. The people who are captivated by the magic in those words are called Hunters.
Hunter x Hunter follows the story of Gon, a 12-year-old boy who was abandoned at a young age by his father to become a hunter. Gon decides that he wants to follow in his father's footsteps and find him. Right from the beginning, the deep character building is apparent. The friends he meets early in the series all have the same end goal as him, to become a hunter. However, all have their own different motivations and reasons for pursuing this goal. Leorio, who is the oldest in the group, wants to be a hunter to make money. He clearly expresses his belief that the world is controlled by those who have wealth. The writer goes further by establishing that this worldview and belief system is a result of past trauma, which involved the death of a close friend of his, after not being able to afford medical bills to look after him. This also inspires Leorio's other motivation of becoming a doctor, which he explains that he would like to pursue due to the money as well. But it is clear that although he hides it, he is a caring young man dedicated to helping people and preventing others from experiencing the same fate as his friend. Kurapika, on the other hand, is a young man who experienced the unfortunate trauma of having his clan being massacred, as they possessed valuable eyes which were unique in their ability to change color when they experienced intense emotion. Therefore, Kurapika is slowly driven by hate and is seeking revenge on the Phantom Troop, the mafia group which committed the crime onto his family. He believes that attaining the hunter license will help him move forward in achieving his goal, as the license and the opportunities and network it creates moves him closer. This deeper and darker motivation behind his actions highlights the writer's brilliant character depth, as on outward appearance and temperament, Kurapika is a very peaceful and seemingly loving character, who looks out for his comrades and is able to control his emotions. This duality in the nature of the characters is a recurring theme in the show, which is one of the factors that makes it so interesting.
Hold it! Or I'll blow your head off!
Move.
You little...
Don't tempt me right now. I don't care who I lash out at. It might as well be you.
Each character is likable, however, is driven by a deeper desire that is guided by their worldview. Killua, perhaps being Gon's closest friend throughout the show, is the same age as Gon, however comes from a family of elite assassins, with him being regarded as the most talented assassin in his family from a young age. When asked about his motivations, Killua mentions that he was taking the hunter exam out of boredom and because he wanted a challenge, and perhaps this is something that he truly believed. However, as the show progresses, Killua's desire to venture out past the manipulative grip his family has had on him from a young age becomes apparent. He has a deep desire to live out the childhood he was denied and connect with friends, which he only realizes when he meets Gon. Again, another character whose motivations are guided by his past. Now circling back to the main character Gon. On first inspection, Gon seems to be a fun-loving kid who's carefree and unassuming. He is the life of the show, and his innocent and naive nature is apparent from the onset. However, on deeper inspection of his actions, it is obvious that there is more to Gon than meets the eye. He is clearly very instinctual, and by that, I mean he is extraordinarily selfish in his decision making, always pursuing his first desire without considering the impact it would have on those around him. Unlike other main characters, Gon is not necessarily interested in pursuing what's right or fixing things. He clearly burns with a self-serving passion to explore and be curious about the world. His thinking is not linear or expected. This is evident from episode 1. Where he abandons a woman who raised him for 12 years during the absence of his father. It is also clear that Gon bears absolutely no resentment towards his father, rather looking up to him and wanting to follow in his footsteps. This unrelenting will is what drives the show forward, allowing Gon to act as a pacemaker of the show. He is truly the life of the show. This is also one of the aspects that makes him so likable. I believe this is also why Killua connected to him so deeply. Gon's naive and childish optimism, even in the face of constant challenge, is infectious, and is what Killua deeply desires, as his tragic childhood of being brought up in murder has left him deeply cynical and ostracized from the outside world. Gon's lack of care for good and evil also means that Killua can connect to Gon without feeling at all judged or despised. Even Killua was surprised to hear Gon's reaction that Killua being an assassin and having murdered many people was cool. It is interesting to find that, in my opinion, Gon's extremely selfish perspective of the world just makes him more likable as a protagonist of the story. Gon is not meant to be an icon of morality. He is not a typical main character. He just is who he is. I think what makes him so likable is that his consciousness seems so aligned with his actions. He's unapologetically himself, not because he told himself to be or thought about it. He just is. He has no capacity to hide anything or manipulate. He is an open book and uses his unrelenting will rather than calculated decision making to accomplish his goals. As we venture deeper into the story, it is clear that the Hunter world is cruel and ruthless. The initial 4-man crew splits up, and Gon and Killua take control of the story, having to learn on the go and solve problems they encounter to move closer to their goal. Gon and Killua's encounter and exposure to the harsh reality of man and the adult world is another factor that sets apart Hunter x Hunter, as both of these boys have to navigate through lies, deceit and danger. Gon is still extremely naive to the world, whereas Killua is wiser and better able to recognize and deal with malevolence. This results in a dynamic where Killua stays by Gon's side, guiding him silently away from any danger his unassuming nature may not notice. And Gon's unrelenting will and curiosity break Killua's inhibitions to move forward. Killua is a brake and Gon is a pedal, and together they move forward. What struck a chord for me was how this violence and cruelty was integrated into the world building. Even through all the corruption that was exposed in the Hunter world, the colours in the show remain vibrant and warm, and Gon and Killua's vibrant, childish optimism remains unbroken. This dark contrast in the world of Hunter x Hunter gives it a very relaxing vibe. They could die by entering the complex adult world, but maybe this is what makes life exciting, and maybe facing malevolence isn't so bad after all. The risk their adventures carry makes the reward so much more worth it. This call to adventure is a basic human desire that the writer draws on to inspire the audience, connecting them to the show on a deeper level. If I were to translate this abstract message into words, the closest I would be able to get is, you want something? Get it. Risk is involved in achieving anything that is meaningful, but maybe that is what makes things meaningful. Safety is also an option, but then there would be no story worth telling, and maybe the fear that one feels is a vehicle to the feeling one is truly looking for. An example was when Killua asked Gon if he was afraid after noticing him shaking, to which Gon responded that he was shaking because he was so excited that he could no longer control his body. The fights in the show are intense, the environments explored are diverse, the characters are unique and each serve a purpose to the story. Gon and Killua are both described as 1 in 10 million talents, so they progress quickly in strength. However, different to the other stories, they don't seem unbeatable. Their vulnerability is clear. It is made clear that they are extraordinary children, but it's also clear that there is a gap between them and the extraordinary men. They are always matched against opponents that undoubtedly have the upper hand, so the story is not reliant on plot armor that sees them level up, beat opponent, and move on to the next one and repeat the cycle. The plot is more flexible and involves a dynamic where each character has their own goals, which sometimes align, leading to new relationships being formed. This can sometimes be frustrating, as it seems like the characters can't win. However, characters constantly hitting against their limits allows the characters to be developed and explored in new ways. Without giving any spoilers, it is evident that there are times in the show when the characters defy logic after being devastated by their own weakness. Kurapika's undying desire for revenge and Gon later in the show are examples of this. Togashi allows them to experience these things without interjecting and steering them towards what's right. This adds to the story's brilliance as the characters and plot feel more human and relatable. This leads me back to the point that in the show there is no clear good and evil. Nothing is pure or concrete, and there is no harsh background voice that judges or instructs. Characters are multidimensional, and the writer allows them to express their worldviews and belief systems. No one tells Kurapika that revenge is a double-edged sword. No one tells Yoshiro that he shouldn't prioritize wealth, and that his worldview is wrong. No one tells Killua that he should break ties with his family. This is something that everyone watching the show knows, but wouldn't realize until it is directly expressed to them. This is something that was not apparent to me until I thought about it, but now seems obvious. The characters are not confined or restricted, and their individual chaos is embraced. Maybe the writer is arguing that black and white thinking is what is truly pathological, and chaos is the natural order of the world. Maybe chaos is what allows things to grow, evolve, develop, and align with the truth. Maybe it is needed for deep relationships and bonds to be formed. It is impossible for me to cover all the reasons that the show is what it is, but I have tried my hand at covering what stood out to me. I think there's a reason that stories become great and are loved by so many, and I don't think it's by accident. The writers know what they are doing and create worlds that allow answers that the audience are subconsciously looking for to be extracted. They draw on basic human desires, calls to adventure, friendships, difficulty, and overcoming fear and obstacles to build a deep, meaningful connection with their viewers. In this case, Hunter x Hunter has clearly been successful. The more successful a story is in doing so, the more it lives in the hearts of people. Many of you have most likely watched it already and can speak to what the story did for you and how it connected with you. For those who haven't, if it sounds interesting, maybe you could give it a go. Other than that, thanks for watching to the end and let me know if you enjoyed this type of video.